These 5 factors are very essential to each and every one. So you may realize how applicable these steps are. So they can be identified as practical techniques. You may look at them as a kind of psychotherapy, as you can apply it to your mind, your behavior, your attitudes, basically to all your daily activities, especially to our spiritual practice, spiritual development. Okay. Um, the first quality is the motivation. The motivation is the very first quality in this theory, in this 5-factor model, I can say, because everything has to begin with the motivation. Without motivation, we would not reach anywhere. Therefore, to have this refreshing motivation is very essential in the beginning, and as we continue our practice, our journey, you know, let it be a spiritual practice or let it be any of your goals in your life, you know, you need to have that motivation always, you know, that really moves us forward, you know. Without motivation or lack of motivation, will distract us most of the time. We can easily fall out of our tracks, you know. So therefore, we need to make sure our motivation is in the right place, in the right direction, right? So motivation has to be maintained, and also it has to be led with a better understanding, you know, because you can motivate yourself into wrongdoings, toward wrong directions. Therefore, your motivation has always has to be shaped uh, by your right wisdom, right understanding, your reasoning, your intellectual mind, you know, uh, and only then your motivation can take you to the desired goal, your positive uh, to a positive outcome, right? So therefore, uh, motivation is very important. You know, for many people, this motivation can be developed, motivation can be maintained, motivation can be encouraged due to many reasons too, right? It can be due to your good friends around you. You know, our good friends can always motivate us, or sometimes our own life experiences can motivate us. You know, sometimes we may get very heart touching and very sensitive or powerful life experiences. You know, sometimes people open up their mind, they open up their eyes, and they begin to see the world, they begin to see the life in a totally different perspective. So they can motivate themselves to do certain things, you know, especially getting into this spiritual journey, right? So there can be like eye openers for many people, you know, to initiate, to begin with this motivation. Mm. So there can be many other things that can motivate yourself, you know. And then the second step is uh, uh, identification. You know, once you motivate yourself uh, to reach somewhere, to achieve any goal, you know, to initiate something and continue, we should be able to identify certain things. You know, these certain things are coming in two directions. Mm. Whenever you want to achieve something, whenever you want to move forward, there are always going to be distractions, negative conditions on your way. So we have to be aware of them. We have to be mindful of them. What are these distractions? What are the disturbances? What can take me down, hmm? Weakening my practice, my stability, this kind of awareness, sensitivity towards our negative conditions and circumstances will be there. Otherwise, we can easily get caught up in these negativities. There are dangers, of course, in the world, in society, and there are negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions in ourselves too, in our mind itself. So we have to be able to identify them. And then, of course, we have to be able to identify what are the supportive factors, what are the good qualities, positive qualities, to enhance my qualities, to make myself strong in my journey, in my practice. When we want to achieve something, achieve some goal, we need to identify what are the supportive factors. So we learn all these good things in the Dhamma, right? To have spiritual friends and to have the confidence, to have right effort, mindfulness, concentration, uh, all these good qualities, like loving kindness, sharing, generosity, patience, and all these good qualities are very supportive to our practice. Whenever we want to achieve something, any goal. So we had to identify these positive qualities. So the identification is very important as the second step. And the third step is elimination. We have to be able to let go of these negative conditions on our way. So we have to be smart in that. We have to be very skillful in doing that, right? So because that can be one of the most difficult tasks, uh, difficult challenge for us, anyone. Of course, there are going to be distractions, negativities to let ourselves down. You know, Therefore, we have to be able to let go of these negativities, negative conditions. What we identify in meditation practice directly as the hindrances, right? Somehow we have to learn how to let go of them. So we have to be very skillful in doing that. And that's not easy either, because most of the time our mind, our human tendency is to uh, enjoy sometimes, these negativities, you know, our mind, our corrupted mind, unskillful mind always find indulgence in some negativities. Uh, like how one person can enjoy one's own anger sometimes, So it's a corrupted mind, deluded mind. Uh, so there are moments like that, experiences like that in all of us. So many different ways we enjoy our negativities. Even though they are negative, we don't see that negative effects to our behavior, our progress, our moving forward. So therefore, is the challenge for us to let go of these negativities. And the other reason uh, uh, why this step is difficult, because we have been carrying them for a long time. For a long time we have been having these connections with these negativities. Therefore, it's very difficult to let go. They are kind of imprinted in our system, in our brain wiring, maybe. That's why it's difficult to let go. Even though we want, it's difficult to let go. And most commonly, we cannot let go of our past, right? We always find indulgence in our past memories. Even though they are negative, sometimes we like to bring them into the present moment and enjoy, even though they are negative. That's a kind of pattern, habit in our mind, in our human behavior. So we have to be, therefore, skillful, smart in letting go these distractions, negative conditions, hindrances, as they appear. You know, uh, How can you be smart? Sometimes, as it comes in the Dharma, sometimes we have to replace our negativities with the positive, direct positive qualities. Like, for an example, for anger, we have the loving kindness and compassion, like that. So we can replace our negative conditions, negative qualities with the positive ones. Sometimes, as we learn in the Dhamma, we need to suppress them. We should apply our effort not to express them, not to encourage them in ourselves, with good enough effort. And sometimes we have to let them go, as another approach to them. Sometimes Buddha says, look away, don't look at them. Even whenever they are present, that means to neglect them. Whenever they are present in yourself, forget about them, don't encourage them. That is also another approach to let go of negativities. No, just like you are avoid looking at a bad person, right? You keep a distance, just like that. So this is another way to let go of negativity. So there are different steps, different guidelines to control these negativities. So the elimination is very important. Uh, and At the same time, uh, our practice would not be completed just by letting go, and not doing these negative actions. But the third or the fourth step is to cultivation. After the elimination or prevention, we have to cultivate the positive qualities. What are the supportive factors? What can motivate ourselves more? What can uh, keep us engaged in the practice, reach our goals? So we need to find all the necessary positive qualities into our practice, into our behavior. We have to learn how to incorporate them and make them a part of our life. So that's the secret, right? As Kevin mentioned, moving forward in a distractive world, maintaining that pace, right? Uh, Doing it every day, right? So these kind of positive qualities were learned in the Dhamma. All the positive qualities, spiritual, skillful means, are supportive factors for us. So we learn them in the Dhamma as the five spiritual faculties, right? Shraddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, and Panya. Confidence, right effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, loving kindness, compassion, patience, how to be gentle and kind to oneself and others, to have patience, the humbleness, uh, especially the qualities that learn in the Metta Sutta in the first part of the discourse, to be able to easily satisfied and maintained, easily instructed. So these kind of positive qualities are very important, very supportive. You know, they can make our life divine. They can make our journey comfortable and peaceful and enjoyable at the same time. So we have to be very skillful in cultivating these necessary positive qualities, mm, as needed. Uh, Otherwise, just the prevention would not complete our journey. So this is something some people even appreciate. Some people say, "Oh, I don't do anything wrong. I don't do anything bad. That's enough." That's how some people say. They get satisfied just by doing that. But according to the Dhamma, that would not be sufficient. That would not be enough to complete our journey. You know? I mean, that would not take us anywhere. It would be a great protection indeed. It will be the foundation for us. Because the first step is to let go of the bad, right? Sabbapa sakarana, right? Not to do any evil action. But it would not complete the journey. We have to move to the second step, which is to cultivate the goodness. We had to practice all the good, beautiful things, positive things in our life. So that is necessary. That is indeed very essential. So after elimination, we have to cultivate. Cultivation is part directly comes in meditation. That is what we practice in order to cultivate our mind, cultivate all these spiritual qualities. That makes us different. That makes us different and highly developed and highly evolved in our human journey, our human experience, in this spiritual practice. Uh, uh, so the cultivation is the most important part here. Mhm. And then comes the final step, which is the most difficult thing, is the maintenance. Mhm. When we learn how to cultivate, we have to make it consistent. We have to make it regular. We have to apply these things again and again, again and again, again and again. This is the way to cultivate our mind. As we always talk about the purification of the mind, it has to be constant. Why? Our mind is getting diluted. Our mind is getting impure. Mind is getting always disturbed and distracted again and again, repeatedly, repeatedly. That's why we need to apply these positive techniques, positive cultivation part repeatedly as well. If you let go of one moment, that would be enough for your mind to get distracted and make it a disastrous situation, right? That's how our emotions, our mind, our attitudes are. You know, that's why uh, in the Dhamma, uh, it is called a way of life. Way of life means this practice is not just for 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 year. No, it should be there all the time. Sada Sato. This is our goal, to be able to uh, live in the Dhamma every day, every single moment. So even though it sounds like a big challenge, difficult, uh, it can happen naturally once you learn how to appreciate and enjoy these positive transformations in your life with the practice. And then it becomes natural. You don't have to uh, run after these things. Instead, these qualities will follow you once you learn how to appreciate them, once you learn how to enjoy them in your life. That is the way to make it more natural to you, right? So the maintenance is a very difficult part. One of the most challenges for us. Not being able to see a clear transformation in our practice in our life, maybe because lack of that maintenance, right? Sometimes we neglect. We don't pay enough attention and appreciation to our practice. So we do it here and there, whenever we remember, whenever time is available. That's how sometimes we do stuff. But uh, especially when we want to achieve something, whenever we want to cultivate our spirituality, um, it has to be a part of our everyday life. That is what we call maintenance. So there can be so many things, so many conditions to distract us and uh, to weaken ourselves, uh, to weaken our motivation and all these necessary steps, right? So we have to be very skillful in maintaining and these 5 steps, right? Motivation, uh, identification, elimination, cultivation, and maintenance. So these 5 factors are very essential. So even in psychotherapy, uh, in every single practice, they apply these 5-step model. You know, so this can be a kind of Buddhist way of psychotherapy. If you apply to your own behavior, your own mind, your character, your behavior, So these 5 steps are very essential to keep in mind as we move forward. Okay, I hope you learn these 5 essential steps for benefit of your practice, for the benefit of your everyday life.